recording on all sides.
On all fronts.
Ready to go?
Yes, let's do it.
Well, you are the captain of this ship, so.
Oh, I'm the captain?
You're the
I left
captain.
my notes over there.
Oh, no.
I'm going to get it. I'm
no.
jumping in the water.
I'm taking over.
Go. Tell me what's going on.
What's up, everyone? We are back with another episode of Two Straws.
Two Straws.
How did you fare these early morning fights?
You know, I love an early morning fight. I like waking up to a fight in my bed. I'm like, oh, they're on. Oh, the first two fights have already started. Let me watch in bed while I get one more snuggle from Butcher. You know, like I really enjoy the early morning fights, and then you get to crawl out of bed, make yourself a little sandwich, watch more fights, have a coffee. I like it, and get straight to the point. I think we should do it more often in the U.S.
You know, I don't like fighting early in the U.S., but I do like watching early in the U.S.
I loved the one time I fought early. It was in New Zealand, and I loved it because
I didn't like it.
I didn't have time to get nervous. I woke up, and then it was check-in time, so there was no time for like a shakeout. I kind of did my shakeout at night, but then I woke up, I ate, went and checked in, and then by noon we were done, and I was like, yes.
I don't like it because I don't have time to wake up. I'm like, my system doesn't want to deal with any of this right now, but I do like getting it out of the way. Although I just on Saturdays it kind of throws me off. You know, I don't know what to do with myself now.
Yeah. No, now we're like, I guess we'll have a life outside of UFC
I have no
fights.
excuses for not doing things
I don't
now.
understand.
I don't appreciate that.
Well, speaking of outside of UFC fights, there was a lot of stuff going on last week that we ended up missing because Jessica got sick and I'm in fight camp. So thank you, Jessica, for keeping your germs. Oh, God.
It's past the 8 days, so I'm not contagious anymore. Just unpleasant to be around.
We're just going to film it like that. Give it a little barrier here. So tell me how BKFC was.
So I flew in on Tuesday for fight week to cornerback, and I got to see her for one whole day, and then I just got hit really hard. I took a bunch of stuff, and I thought that I just kind of got rid of whatever it was. I was like, maybe it's like a little travel thing. It was a big travel thing. And I was at the press conference with her, and I'm like, you know, I think I need to get out of here and get away from you because I think something's happening.
You know, it's bad when it comes on that fast. Like, it's not a lingering for a few days thing. It's just like hey, I felt great. You go to training, you come back home, and you're like, oh, no.
Dude, it bitch slapped me.
Yeah.
Like, all over the place. I was miserable. I was sweating. I had the body aches. I was coughing so hard I gave myself a sore throat and just hacking stuff up. It was awful. And I couldn't be near Bec because there's no way she could have fought if I had like passed this to her.
Right. And that was a tough fight too. That was a nice she looked really good in that fight. But the girl just like she had that zombie mode on her where she was gonna keep coming forward, whether Bec made her pay for it or not.
Yeah, she makes for they make for good opponents for each other. Both of them just, you know, they like to come forward, they like to throw. Neither one of them relents. It was just I told Bec afterwards, I was like, dude, I know how hard you hit. And I felt bad for her at some point because I know how hard you hit.
Well, she seems like a really sweet girl too.
She is.
Like,
it was my first time meeting her.
Yeah.
She's engaged to my friend Nick, who he does like a lot of the behind the scenes like videography, photography for BKFC.
Okay.
We worked CFFC together. So yeah, just anybody who would be in a relationship with that person I know is an amazing human.
Okay.
So total sweetheart, both of them. So it's always nice. I know it's not as fun for the fans, but as somebody, as a fighter, I appreciate when you have a really respectful and like cool opponent. Mm-hmm. It just kind of it just alleviates something for me that I don't have to worry about, you know, this weird tension that, I mean, we're already going to fight. We don't need to make it any more tense and weird than it has to be. Jeremy Stevens does not share my sentiment at all.
He likes hating the person.
He
was very calm and collected, though.
He had all of Philadelphia like ready to fucking jump him.
And he thrived in it.
It was insane. I was like, this could go really well, but it could also have some repercussions. But and
it repercussed all over his jaw. Did you see the Eddie Alvarez X-ray? The scan, and they showed this huge crack in his jaw, and he played I was impressed with Eddie Alvarez because he played that shit off. So it looked like something bad happened, but I love the clip of him going.
No, there was that last punch towards the end of the second round. I was like, something's wrong, like something's off. And then his corner threw in the towel, and I was like, I wonder what that was.
Yeah, it was crazy, but he did everything he could to stay in that fight. It seemed like until he got back to the corner, and hats off to him. But man, Jeremy hits hard. And then he was in the gym the next day, or during our Wednesday sparring, he comes through to Azteca and he's just doing his thing, doing his recovery stuff, rolling out his arms and his legs. And I've always admired just the discipline of him. He does all the things that are boring, he does the long runs, he does the cardio work, he does the conditioning, he does the recovery, all the stuff that's just kind of I'll take care of it later. He's on top of that stuff. So I'm not surprised at his longevity and the fact that he's able to take out someone like Eddie Alvarez, especially in a sport that was basically designed for Jeremy Stevens. Jeremy Stevens, Mike Perry, I think that's it. Those and Bec, yes, and
Can't forget our girl Bec.
But there are a few things about Bec's style that makes it not necessarily the best style for her too. Because I feel like Bec would have more success in regular boxing than bare knuckle because of the craziness that goes on. Her, did she fight Britton Hart once or twice?
Twice.
And I felt like Britton Hart was not the better boxer in those fights, but she was able to land stuff that would do something in bare knuckle that wouldn't do anything in a boxing match.
I think that the damage that Bec sustained when fighting Christine Ferreira was probably the biggest prime example of someone. And I mean, Christine's gotten a lot better. Their second fight, she got a lot more technical, but she still has a brawler style. So I do think that bare knuckle definitely caters to someone who has that kind of style. You don't necessarily need to land clean, but you just need to land. Yeah. And some of those grazing punches can do more damage than a direct hit.
Yeah. But I felt like Jeremy really dealt well with the range, with putting his entire body behind those punches when he would land. And he's able to do both. He's able to land clean and make it count and get out of the way when things come at him, kind of turn away to the side. I liked his little uppercut that he landed in the clinch too, that kind of slide by uppercut. I'm like, ooh, maybe I could try to do that little yo-ho-ho style in an MMA match because the gloves are almost as small as not wearing any at all. But yeah, super fun night. It sucks that you weren't able to partake in the festivities. Did you run into Connor at all before you got sick and put in quarantine?
Not run into him. We all waited 3 hours at the presser for him to show up.
Oh, no.
Rile everybody up for 20 minutes and then leave.
So that's what got you sick.
Probably.
It was his fault. He made you wait too long in the germ zone.
Yeah.
You were sitting in the germ pool waiting for Connor to show up.
Just festering.
While he's doing lines in a bathroom somewhere.
This
for
guy.
Someone's butt.
Probably.
That's the outbreak monkey, doing lines off of someone's butthole, then came in, yelled at everyone, spit on him. I feel like he's a spit talker right now. He seemed like he was on one that weekend.
It is wild to me that one, he is a walking just billboard for advertisement and attention, and he really does well giving his speeches.
He's a living pop-up.
That's it.
You're just doing your thing, minding your business,
And he's
Proper
here.
12.
And we want to hear everything he says, and then he's gone.
Forged
never
Irish
see him
stout.
I heard it's good. Bec had me like, I was in charge of holding on to her like little boxes.
Funny you say that.
Forged.
I actually have one in the fridge waiting for you to try.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
Do a live tasting. We'll take a quick break. And you can tell us exactly what you think of it.
But it's kind of crazy to me that a promoter,
got it at grocery outlet for $4.
I feel like that's well spent money.
It's kind of like what happens with a lot of the like
Patty Pillments energy drink.
like a lot of the UFC stuff ends up at grocery outlet for some reason. We're not there yet. We're almost there.
We're getting there.
We're getting there.
It'll be
2030 is our year. Nothing's gonna end up in grocery outlet.
Everything is.
Everything ends up at grocery. It's just like all the celebrities.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of Halle Berry stuff too, but you can argue that it's because she went MMA.
Oh,
yeah, the
shit.
Halle Berry workout plan, like it's the roller thing, the ab roller, and then you have a yoga mat, and then there's a couple other things with Halle Berry's face on them. Like,
you can't copy Suzanne Summers. She did it first. She did it best. Anything else is a knockoff. I'm sorry.
Holly, what are you doing?
Have some respect.
And you need to play the coach next time, not the fighter. Come on, girl.
Oh, girl. That was hard.
Be bold. Bold in your oldness. It happens to us all.
She's still got it, though.
Yeah, she can still fight.
Still,
She was moving. She was moving in the few scenes that didn't look like it was a stunt person.
Yeah, true.
She was able to get her hips up.
She looked good in John Wick.
Hey.
She's good in John Wick.
Yeah.
I was a fan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the fights are really really fun to watch. Connor made a show of it. And then this weekend we had we had UFC in Saudi Arabia.
Yes, and we had the first time ever that they allowed women to be on a card in Saudi Arabia. That was pretty exciting, and they delivered.
Yeah,
I gotta say though, as good as Jess Duvicious looked, I see a pattern with Buena Silva, with how her head really gets in the way of her fighting.
She's had a really tough few fights, like few losses, where we keep remembering what she looked like against Holly Holm.
Yes.
And we keep wanting that to happen. And then every fight since then, I feel like she's just had this huge crash. And I'm not sure what it is, if it's a head thing, if it's just the way she's training, is she not recovered? This time there was a bigger weight cut for her, but this has happened in her 135 fights too. So I'm wondering what it is. Like maybe because like when Molly McCann had a tough performance at 125, she said, you know, I'm a small 125er. I need to go down so that I'm not getting as tired in these fights and I can actually move people. So maybe that was Buena Silva's reckoning for going down to 125, but the energy still looked like she had a huge dump in that, especially in that last round.
It looks like she's fighting herself in there. It looks like maybe there's like some sort of turning point in her fights where maybe it's not going her way. Maybe some sort of adversity just kind of takes her out of it and she can't get back into it.
Yeah.
And it's, I feel for her. I feel, frustrated and sad to watch an athlete have to go through that and not like repeatedly and not know how to course correct.
Yeah, it's a weird one because it happened pretty drastically. She had her fight with Holly Holm that got overturned.
Yeah.
Then she had her fight with
Raquel Pennington for the
title, and she had a huge dump there. She was doing okay against Macy. It looked like she was kind of fading, but then she started coming back, and then Macy got on top of her and landed that huge elbow that cut her down to the skull. So that happened, but there was still that energy dump that seems to happen, and then she was able to rally herself back into the fight, but eventually it ended the way it did. And then with this one, it just looked like Like not much there, not much steam there. And it's also a tough thing to go all the way out to Saudi Arabia, to be in a new place, to have all these, rules that you have to follow when you're fighting. I know we talked about it before, but when you're fighting in Saudi Arabia, the women have to be extra careful not to break these rules that you kind of take for granted in a place like America or Brazil. Like, Brazil, you're walking around with a bikini the size of a shoestring, but in Saudi Arabia, they're like, cover your belly button or we'll stone you, so.
I was surprised that Jasmine was actually able to have her shoulders show.
Dude, she was showing them shoulders off.
Jacked.
She was being very cheeky with her shoulders. She's like, hey, judges. You like that?
Shoulder strikes.
You like that? Oh yeah, she struck with them too.
Yeah,
her bare shoulders.
Her bare shoulders.
Wow.
She was jabbing.
What a floozy.
Myra in the face, and she was actually complaining about it. I probably would complain too. That looks like it sucks.
She probably got the bone of the shoulder. Myra thought it was an eye poke or something. Bony shoulders are a good weapon to have.
They are. You would know.
I got that nice bony shoulder. Check that out.
All bone.
Go on, put your face right here. Put your face right there.
I don't want to.
Come here.
I don't want to. It'll hurt.
Fine. I'll save it for the fight.
Please and thank you.
Yeah. No, I was happy to see the women fighting there though, because they were calling for it. The guy, what is his name? The guy who kind of like set it all up. He was in the crowd and he's like, I want women. And I want this and that.
One of the sheiks or the princes.
Yeah. He was like all about it last time they were out there. So now they got to fight. I felt like it was kind of a test run because I was kind of surprised that it was that fight. You know what I mean? That matchup.
Really? I think both girls.
As opposed to like a bigger matchup.
Well, you want Ailin Perez out there?
Like a meaningful.
You want her out there shaking her ass? No,
that'd be so
they would never have us back. They would never have us back.
They'd make.
I think they picked two girls that represented very well, and we will definitely be invited back.
Butcher,
he's nesting.
He's just been doing it for so long.
I know. It's really distracting.
See, it is distracting when it's in your eye line, right? Like I can just pretend he's not there. But I still feel it.
Yeah, you
feel the wrestling.
Yes, exactly. So funny.
How appropriate because I'm wearing my Butcher Club shirt.
Hey. It's
so
almost warm enough to like bring that out again.
I know, right?
It's so chilly.
Well, I'm in my fight camp mode, so my abs are popping. I could wear this teeny tiny baby clothes shirt.
I don't care if I'm cold. Everybody needs to see this.
Yes, my muscles will keep me warm. So that was a interesting fight. What'd you think about the Pogues fight that happened before that? Did you see the first fight of the night? Everyone was calling it robbery.
I didn't see the first fight. I saw the fights. I went back and watched Terrence McKinney because he has some buzz about him. But I mostly just watched the main card because we kind of had a impromptu call time.
Yes, we need to get this shit out on the airways right now. So I only wanted to talk about this one because people were saying it was a robbery, and I wanted to go and look at who the judges were, and guess who one of the ones were that scored against Jamal Pogues, even though most people thought he won, at least 29-28. Your boy Sal D'Amato.
Boy, come on.
He was one of them. I'm trying to find who the second judge was, but a lot of people scored at 30-27 for Pogues. I think 29-28 was the most fair just because there was not much action in the first round, but Pogues was on the back foot for the most part. And then in the second and third, Pogues landed more. He landed bigger shots. His boxing was looking really sharp. And he's one of those guys that are really nice, too, during fight week. Like, you don't get that often, but you could tell that he was vibing with the commentary team because as they're calling the fight, they're like, yeah, it looks like Pogues has got this one. He did a lot of great work, and he's such a joy to hang out with. And then when you see someone like that get robbed, it makes you a little more vocal. Like, I feel like the commentary team was a lot more vocal about the robbery this time than they usually are.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. Full honesty, full disclosure. Like, hey, my boy won. Like, that's messed up. And even though it wasn't like a blow out of the water performance by Pogues, I think he might have like kind of screwed himself too, because at the very end they were high-fiving, they were talking to each other, but then not really throwing strikes at each other. So I feel like that was a moment that he might kick himself for, going back to the locker room after getting like a split decision like that.
Dang.
Yeah, but it sucks. But yeah, I know. I think it might have been cartilage.
I'm trying to look because also on the page and
On the what now?
the Shara what, how do you
On the what?
name? Michael Venom Page.
Oh, okay.
Who did he fight?
He fought Shara Magamedov.
Thank you,
Yes.
Shara.
My friend.
I was your best friend. I was surprised that, it was Mike Bell. He gave one round to Magomedov. And
Okay.
everybody else, I think, got it right.
Mike
with
Bell is
27.
always right. He's always scoring the card the way I think he should score it.
Really?
Mike Bell is the good, like, we need a list.
Well, he
the good
fucked
list.
up today.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
Oh, no. I thought he was the one that got it right.
So, no. Jacob Montalvo and Clemens Werner, they both gave 30-27 to Michael Venom Page.
Oh.
And Michael Bell gave the last round to Shara Magamedov, and I just
Oh, that's weird.
it was a bit uncharacteristic of him, but that one stood out to me.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there.
I don't know. Maybe he saw something. It did look like Shara was pushing the pace a little bit, but the round I would have given him would have been the first round. I think, but then I was like, he shouldn't get the first round. I just feel like if he had gotten screwed, if Michael Venom Page had gotten screwed, they would have given Shara the first round. But I gotta.
Yeah, the only thing for me in the third round that I could be like, maybe they thought he did more than he actually did, was because he kind of grinded MVP against the cage a little bit, get a little bit of cage control, but I don't think that outweighed the work that MVP was doing.
Yeah, I thought 30-27 was really fair. But, at least he only got one round wrong as opposed to 2 out of 3, which is what Sal D'Amato and I got it right here. Sal D'Amato and Ben Cartilage did.
Guys.
I know. And it was separate rounds too. Sal D'Amato gave Pogues the first round, which is the round I thought he might have lost. And then, Ben Cartilage gave Pogues the first round, and then Abdelwahab the second and third.
Sounds like you got marbles in your mouth.
Sal D'Amato gave Pogues the third round, and Abdelwahab the first and second. And then Tony Weeks gave Pogues all three rounds.
So
he
we
was
like
feeling
him.
it.
So we like him.
He's a boxing ref, all right? He liked the boxing of Jamal Pogues. It was looking sharp that night. So yeah, I felt bad for him. Because it seemed like a clear win, even though it wasn't like a crazy dominant performance. You shouldn't have to do that in order to win a fight. You should just be able to win the fight.
Yeah.
And it frustrates me because I am on my way to the octagon again, and I'm hoping I don't get my 7th split decision in a row, because we know what happens when it goes split decision for me.
Well, you know what you need to do.
Just finish the fight.
Yeah.
Just gotta finish it.
Just gotta finish it.
You gotta finish the fight.
He's got to kill her.
Don't give it to the judges. Don't do it. Don't do it. Number one mistake every fighter does that gets robbed.
When are you guys going to learn?
Yeah, I know, right?
Gosh.
We're just dummies doing the same thing over and over again.
Oh my gosh.
Letting
Like, why
judges
like,
judge
just
our fights.
Figure it out. just do it.
Well, on a lighter note, I was really excited to see McKinney.
Yeah, he's got a lot of buzz about him, and he delivers.
Yes. And
only one fight has gone 3 rounds, but it wasn't the distance.
Yes.
Everything has been finished within, I believe, the first round.
Yeah, he is insane. First round finisher. First round, get him finished. And today he was on the right side of the finish. And it really is awesome to see the way he gets after it just right away.
And he looks young in fight experience, but the way he puts everything together, I love how he capitalizes off of momentum, off of people's attacks. I personally love doing that. It doesn't always work out for me very well. But in his case, he was defending that single. He wrapped up a neck. He ended up getting taken down, but like he just transitions. He ended up getting, to a dominant position to finish the fight. I just love that he is just game wherever he is. He's always looking, for a dominant position, for a way to capitalize.
Yeah, and they gave my boy a lot of time to get that finish.
Like 50 unanswered punches.
So after seeing that, you can imagine my face during the Adesayna fight.
I know.
I'm like, switch the refs. Switch him.
I know.
Let him work his way up.
And normally Goddard lets people die.
Right?
Like normally he lets people take some damage.
Unless he's in on it.
Oh.
Unless he's on the take.
Take the tinfoil hat off. Mm-hmm. We don't need to do that yet. We don't need to do
that
right now.
They're all against Izzy. Sorry, it's just my black on black cope talking, as somebody commented last time.
Oh.
Yeah. When we were defending Jamal.
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
It is, because they just they either ignored the fact that you were defending Jamal, or they think you're light skinned.
Nobody thinks that. Nobody thinks that.
They must have seen that ass.
Well, maybe I'm an honorary. Honorary. Just because we friends.
Angela invited her to the cookout, and now she's got black on black cope too.
Whatever.
Yeah, well, I really thought that he could have had a few more minutes to work, but there was that thing that Adesayna always does. He always backs up, and it used to be his thing. Like, it used to be his little magic trick where he'll back up to the cage and you go in for the kill shot, and then he kill shots you.
Matrix.
Yes.
Matrix.
Yes.
It's just those kind of things I feel like are more useful in a ring. And I think that there's also something with, you have these tricks up your sleeve, but once people figure it out, you have to evolve past it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's easy to rely on it because everything is happening the same. He's walking into the same traps. When you're circling, he's following the exact same way that he did when you knocked out Whitaker, when you knocked out all these other people. But people learn from those mistakes, and they're able to get past it. They're able to learn when to go or how to draw out your punch and then go. And he kind of I used to call this the piano cat defense. And you remember Piano Cat? But it's really easy to do. It's like your natural way to react when someone throws something in your face. Sure. You go, and when someone gets him backing up and then they buck on him and he does that, that's when they're able to get past his range.
That's that moment.
And because he's so good at leaning back, it really stretches him out and leaves him open. And when there's the fence there, you can kind of predict which way he's going to go. Mm-hmm. So it sucks because that used to be the thing that I was so in awe of with Adesayna, the fact that he could back up into the fence and really set that trap and get them to bite on it and then knock him out as he tried to come in. But now it seems to be the thing that's gotten him in a lot of trouble with
repeatedly.
Yeah, with this fight, with Duplessis, with Strickland, Pereira, even.
Yeah,
with Pereira. So it sucks that it's it was a early stoppage, but it's still, you can see that thing is the thing that gets him in trouble.
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard to fix at this point because he's had so much success doing it. I mean, he got the belt doing it. So how do you fix something that was working for so long?
I don't know if it's about fixing something. I think it's adding to his tool belt. I think it's evolving. You know, again, I say this repeatedly, like these things are just feedback for us with, you know, what's not working, with what's working. And if he still has it in him, if he still wants to, I believe that he can evolve past this and he can like learn from this feedback, because this is time and time again, we've seen it not work to his benefit anymore. So it's time to add something to take that out of, you know, in the forefront of his tool belt.
Yeah. You know what I liked seeing was his counter wrestling. That's something I feel like we haven't seen since he fought Derek Brunson. So to see him go for that like double overhand throw and to just counter Imavov's wrestling attack with his own, I'm like, yes, do more of that shit. You know, because if he started adding in the wrestling feints, just like touching the leg, coming up top, doing his same lateral movement stuff that he did, but pressuring forward a little more, I feel like he'd start to find even more weird openings that he didn't necessarily use yet. Like just keep using different tricks, keep adding to the tool belt, like you said. But man, Imavov, he looked determined to land those punches. And
talk about somebody that's added to his tool belt. We saw it in his last fight with Brendan Allen. Did I say that? Brendan Allen?
Yeah.
I said it right.
It's an American name, hard to mess up.
And
not like Akamalaka Baloo.
Didn't know if I put the right vowel in the right place.
Brendan Allen, actually, Alon.
But we saw it in that fight. He surprised us with his grappling. He took the wrestling to somebody that was supposed to be able to capitalize on their grappling offense.
Right.
And he really shut him down.
Yeah.
And he did it in this fight too. We saw him take Adesayna kind of out of his game, just really capitalize on places where, you know, we saw Adesayna potentially being able to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to give, you know, my hats off to Imavov in how just on point he was with everything. He has really shown in these last like 2 or 3 fights just the growth, the well-roundedness that he actually is, because before we were really only seeing him as a striker.
Right. You have to think that he's going to be next in line after the 3 people he just took out. He just beat Brendan Allen, like you said, or Brendan. Jared Cannonier, Delize, and now Adesayna. That's the mountaintop.
It's an impressive resume
of that division.
And I know people are going to chive in and they're going to say, you know, oh, what about Chimaev? But
what has he done lately?
He has not. And I'm sorry. I know he's an incredible fider. He's amazing. He put away Whitaker, which is a tough task.
That's crazy.
And really impressive. I'm still very upset about that. No, I can't forget about that. I was very upset. Just because he's just a fan favorite. You know? He's just so likable as a fighter and a champion. But I just feel like the consistency, the body of work that Imavov has done outweighs the, you know, sporadic fights that we see Chimaev in
a short amount of time too. This is like within the last 2 years that he took out all those scalps. So that's pretty impressive. And then we look at Chimaev, who fought Whitaker in 2024, beat Usman 2023, Kevin Holland 2022. Like these, we have to wait so long in between each fight. But it depends on the fan favoriteness and who is more of a fan favorite. Is it Chimaev or is it Imavov? Obviously. And we saw what happened with poor Vierna when she was getting ready to fight Suarez, and they're like, actually, no, We're going to save Suarez for something to make us more money.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what they do. So I wouldn't be surprised if Chimaev was next, but it might be a good idea for Imavov to take a little break. He's been charging along, getting a bunch of wins, racking up a bunch of points. So he can probably chill at the top for a little bit and wait for his opportunity.
Would you wait or would you take another fight? I think I would wait, personally.
I would wait, especially because it's so hard to book Chimaev. So whether he's next in line or not, there's a good chance you can swoop in.
Fair.
Once that booking happens, or if they just, for whatever reason, can't book it on the date that they want to book it.
Fair point.
So yeah, wait for that opportunity, Imavov. You earned it. Can't believe you did that to my boy, Adesayna. So going back to that Michael Venom Page fight, what did you think about the overall performance of both him and my friend Shara Magamedov, who does not like taking pictures of me with my belly button out?
It's very offensive.
I should like talk to him with it next time. It's like, hey, Shara.
Maybe he didn't have enough abs that time.
I had plenty abs.
You always have plenty of abs.
And it was a really high top, so you can see all 5 of them. It's like 5 up here. You got to see a little boob in order to see the 6th one.
See, that's where you did wrong.
Yeah, if I had gotten it all the way up, he'd be like, "You are athlete." I respect you now. I thought you were a woman, but now I know you are just athlete.
I thought that I knew the matchmakers were hoping for like a spectacular fight, but I also was kind of worried that this would be a little bit boring. Just because like they're both guys that like to explode and sometimes they take a little bit of time
on each other's faces.
Yes. All over it.
And that's what happened.
And that's
they just
the stats were kind of crazy. Magomedov did not land much in the way of hand strikes, which he normally doesn't. He's definitely like a kicker. Mm-hmm. He definitely looks for like the big fancy kicks. Michael Page, I think, just gave him a problem with the rhythm, with the range. You can study a lot of footage on MVP, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to figure him out inside there. And I think that's what we saw.
Yeah, he switches it up a little bit for everyone he fights too. In this fight, he was very confident with his hands down. And you see him kind of vary. Like sometimes he'll come in a little more ready to throw hands, and sometimes he's all the way down there. And this time he was just kind of hiding his hands from him almost. And then when he would jump in, the 1-2 was landing a lot, especially after the first round. He would jump in and just land that 1-2 over the top. And I think Shara was so dependent on beating that lead leg, calf kicking him, slowing him down, that when that wasn't working, he didn't really have a second answer.
Yeah.
And it started to get pretty exciting once they would get in the pocket, like really throw, really exchange. But you could just see the frustration on Shara's face. Like he couldn't do the thing that was supposed to work. And
Let me pirate.
Let me be a pirate. Like we've seen it work before against Michael Venom Page, but he's learned from that loss and he was able to bounce in and out, make a miss, draw things out. He really took his time. And then when he found the mark, it was like boom, boom. And that's the thing that I was talking about when I would be shady towards Shara Magamedov. Not because he didn't take photos with me, but because I'm like, okay, yes, we see the striking is fancy and he can throw cool shit, but a lot of times when he comes in with the leg kick, he's standing square. Yeah. And it's like if someone can dart in and shoot that straight line to his face as he's throwing the kick, like as long as they're not taking a ton of damage on their leg, you could do that all day with him because he doesn't turn his shoulders over. He's like kind of feeling the range so he can throw something spinning or throw something whippy or something like that. But when it comes to the first kicks that he throws, a lot of times he leaves his head really open. And those are the moments that I saw Page come in with that big, almost double punch, that big leaping 1-2. Like that's when he was able to land most of his strikes. So I think that kind of threw Shara off, and now he's gonna have to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to deal with someone that's a little more tricky. Because at the top, I feel like everyone's gonna have answers for what he gives.
Yeah, I think it's time to add to
especially
that tool belt.
at his weight class. I mean, Michael Venom Page came up to fight Shara. So, yeah, that's going to be a tough run for him if he's getting people in the top 10.
Yeah. It's these kind of, leveled up fights for somebody, because as big of a name as Shara is, he's still kind of young.
Yeah, he's a baby.
He is.
He's a
he
baby.
is in experience wise. So it's just, this is one of those fights where I'm like, okay, go back to the gym. You got to start adding more volume, more setups, more tools, just giving a different look, because if this is all that you have to offer, just like Adesayna, like even at the highest level, like you have to add to your repertoire, otherwise people are going to figure it out, and then you're going to keep like running into these issues.
Yeah, and it's easy to hide from them. Like it's easy to avoid the person that like does the dumb hands down karate style, at the gym. Like it's easy to not go with the person who always takes you down, because once you go into a fight, you're at least going to have that confidence. Hey, nobody took me down this camp. But it's like, okay, but who are you going with? And also, this person is a lot better than the people you were going with at taking you down. So it's one of those things where you have to, he has tons of time. He's a huge star. They'll probably keep giving him fights like this where it's either going to teach him something, or he's going to show that he's leveled up against a big name and make more fans. But I think that was a good, humbling experience for him to just kind of be out weirded, within the kick game, and out strategy on the stand up game. Like he didn't have to go for takedowns. Michael Venom Page didn't. Shara refused to go for takedowns, and he proved it. But I mean, hey man, you're in the land of ovs. Yeah. You should add that to your game, because that with the spin kicks, like that's why Shavkat is so scary, because he can do it all. Yeah. If you can do it all, nobody's going to want to fight you. And he's already shown that he's exciting, so now he can add the boring stuff to his repertoire and just be a total monster. Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Well, we should probably mention the craziest thing that is trending right now in MMA news, which is
Bryce Mitchell.
Oh my God.
Oh, Bryce.
What are you doing?
Bryce, I was just singing your praises, bro.
What are you doing? I remember when you were just a little young, wet behind the ears, freshly weight cutted fighter asking me if my hair lost water, and that's why my afro was tinier. And look at you now, wanting to go fishing with Hitler. What the hell?
Sometimes people say things, and it is just baffling to me.
Yes.
It's just really confusing. And
his entire podcast.
Yeah. Well, his first episode. I wonder how many followers that got him.
A lot.
I bet.
He gained, I saw somewhere that he gained about 16,000 followers on Twitter after saying what he said. This is where we're at. This is the worst timeline. And we're living in it.
I say this a lot, and I really do mean it. Like when athletes, when people, when anyone has a big platform, like you have to realize you have a responsibility to just be, to be honest and forthright with what you're saying, but like just also be really careful about what you're saying and what you're putting out there. It's we have a responsibility to fact check. We have a responsibility to just make sure that what we're saying is educated. Mm-hmm. It's just he released an apology.
Did he?
He did.
What did he say?
He So he said, I'm sorry I sounded insensitive. I definitely was not trying to offend anybody, but I know I did. I know that a lot of people died in the Holocaust, and that's a fact. Hitler did a lot of evil things. I think we can all agree on that. I'm definitely not a Nazi and definitely not, do not condone any of the evil things Hitler did.
So in the podcast, he
I know.
he was saying that Hitler could not have, in fact, killed that many people. It wasn't possible that Hitler could have killed millions of Jews in the Holocaust. The Holocaust was not real, he also said. He is self-educated. He's not educated by the system that allows us to think that Hitler did these things and killed people. That apology does not reflect what he actually said in the podcast at all. And most people are just seeing the little clip. And I felt like I should watch the whole thing because I've met the kid and he seems like a nice guy. He's doesn't seem that smart, like Dana said, but he definitely doesn't seem like he has ill will towards people. And the podcast is bad. It's really bad. Like that little clip was not the worst thing that he said.
Oh my.
You know, like he went on to like generalize about like meeting Connor, and then he started talking about a rape case, but then he started saying, well, all those Muslims are raping people and raping children and no one's talking about that, and he just wants to get the Muslims out, and just like really going on a lot of hateful things. And then I feel like he thinks he makes it okay by saying at the end, I'm not saying all Muslims are this, I'm not saying all Jews are this, but you already said it. So you can't erase a bad deed by saying, oh, not all of them, just the ones that I'm talking about, because that's what generalizing is. That's what racism is. It's a sum up of what you think about most of the people who carry this banner of I am this or I am that, and it's gross. And I think another thing that people missed from the clip is that the segue to that was him talking about Elon Musk hailing Hitler, in his speech at the inauguration. It's about him it's a segue from him talking about being invited to the inauguration. So yeah, it's bad that this kid said that, but also like the company keep, it's just a really, I don't know. I don't like any of this. I don't like how much politics are just swarming the MMA scene right now. And it's the reason that I was so worried. And I remember you asking me like, why is everyone so uptight about this election? Like the reason is because it makes people who think these things feel super comfortable. And this Bryce Mitchell, who was invited to the inauguration, who was fraternizing with all these people, he felt super comfortable saying he would go fishing with Hitler. And it's tough to watch because I love MMA. I love a lot of the people who are saying these things, but it's like, dude, like making us all look really fucking dumb.
Well, I think he's making himself look dumb. We can't generalize an umbrella.
He is gaining fans from this, what happened. It is
kind of crazy. It is
kind
of crazy.
Gaining fans.
Instead of people standing up and saying and speaking out against it, it's gaining him fans. That is kind of confusing to me.
It is. But, Dana also released a statement saying, calling Bryce Mitchell stupid over and over again, saying he's one of the dumbest people he knows, but also free speech. So what do you think about that? Do you think he should be punished in any way? Do you think that there's any type of repercussions that like the company should be seen to force on him, or is free speech like a good enough answer?
I mean, I think it is what it is, and if you give that freedom to one person. You have to give it to everyone. So I understand that that's their policy and it's their way of staying hands off and kind of being, I guess, a bit diplomatic about it, so they don't have to get their hands dirty. It's their take. I just don't know. I just don't know what the right or wrong thing is, but that's what they said, and they're allowing it. So,
You know what I think they should do?
what?
Take away his shorts. No more mossy oak shorts for you. You lost your privilege. No more shorts for him. I can't even wear red shorts without claiming a different country. Like, I have to, like, I can't wear a random color. But this guy who wants to go fishing with Hitler gets his own shorts. Take his shorts away. I think that would be more than a slap on the wrist for him. He'd cry. He would cry. Why, Dana? But yeah, I don't know. I thought that was wild. That was the most trending topic. We had to talk about it. It's I don't know. Would you go fishing with Hitler?
No. No. No,
I hear he was a good guy before
unless
the math.
it was to assassinate him.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
I'll invite him fishing then.
Yeah, there you go. How would
bro.
you do it? And would you put something like a grenade in his tackle box?
No, I'd shoot him. Quick and easy.
Like, don't
like
worry.
Godfather style.
Don't
Like-
worry, Hitler.
like
I'm
Stand
using
by
this
to
on the
Fredo.
fish. We're going sheep fishing.
I'll be in the back of the boat behind him.
Hey, I think a harpoon gun would be cool.
That would definitely be very dramatic and theatrical.
He'd never see it coming. I'm like,
He might hear it though. Those things are noisy.
I'm like, yo, we're hunting Moby Dick and start like cranking. No, stand right there. Get the telescope. Stand right there. Okay, don't move. Best fishing trip ever. Well, we're gonna cut it short just because I'm in camp. It's
And
just
I'm
his
hacking all over the
birthday,
microphone.
and yes, she's gonna have a nice phlegmy birthday party
Party.
after this. So, guys, also, we're doing a raffle.
Oh.
We have an exclusive, non-able to buy two-straw shirt. Yes. Beautiful two-straw shirt. So we're going to pick one winner this week. We'll do a quickie episode before my fight week, which is in 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks away now. And we'll pick a winner. So make sure you join. It's a member-only contest. Join and you too can win a fancy prize. And hey, in the comments, if there's anything you want me to steal during fight week, like I don't know, someone's jacket.
Someone's shoes.
I bet
slides. I bet you could come up with some slides.
Yeah, so I can steal something from somebody. If there's something you want me to steal from someone during fight week, we can raffle it off for the next month.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. So let us know in the comments what you want me to 007 away.
It'll be like a scavenger hunt. I love it.
Ooh, I can't wait. Give me some good ideas. All right, guys. Well, we'll see you next week for the raffle, and then next week for my fight. Wish Jess a happy birthday, and we will see y'all then.